Okay, here's some sets from today's shoulders and tricep workout. I started out with rear delts. Did kind of a little drop set here on a reverse pec deck. I'm sitting down on the seat with my palms facing each other to start, which is kind of a weaker position, at least for me. Then go to failure there, and immediately after failure I'll stand up and lean into the pad at like a 70 or 80 degree angle with the floor and grab with my palms down. This is a much stronger position for me. And so I'm able to get almost 2 sets in one. I used to do this a lot for rear delts. I kind of got away from it. Not really sure why, but it felt good today, so I think I'll bring it back in occasionally. And then I moved on to seated military press. This is, I think, my 4th workout in a row doing this movement, and I'll keep doing it as long as I keep progressing with PRs. Unfortunately, well, not quite sure what to call this week's. Last week I got 365 for 6 wearing elbow sleeves. This week I got 365 for 6.5 without elbow sleeves, but my form was a little different. I have my ulnar nerve gets inflamed in my left arm. I've talked about it before, but I've got some kind of nerve damage on that left tricep, and the medial head ends up taking a lot of the workload, and that's over the years that's grown really large on my left arm for that reason. And sometimes it kind of pinches on the ulnar nerve, and for whatever reason today when I was taking my normal grip, it was really hitting that nerve, so I had to go with a little wider grip than I like to go usually. And this is the set there. And so you can see I really wanted to get 7 reps. I usually try to keep constant tension, but today I was going all the way to lockout to give my shoulder a split-second pause in between reps, hoping to get that 7th rep, and was pretty close, but couldn't quite lock it out. So it was close enough to a PR. I think if I was wearing elbow sleeves, I would have got the 7th rep. I didn't want to wear the sleeves because I would have just compressed that nerve even more. So I'm going to call it a semi-PR, and I'll stick with this movement at least one more workout. And if I stall out there, then I'll switch probably back to hammer shoulder press or maybe a free weight barbell press. I don't really do dumbbell. I used to like dumbbell, but it really hurts my shoulders kicking the dumbbells up these days. And then I went to just a Widowmaker 20 rep set with 225. And by this point in the workout, everything was kind of warmed up enough where there was a little less ulnar nerve pain. So I moved my fingers in about, I think, one finger in closer together on each side, which still isn't quite my power position, but it's a little more narrow. So this felt like a good set. I felt like I could have gone all day with the reps actually. And looks like I did a poor editing job here. So I meant to edit out all the weight changing and stuff, but I must have forgot on this one. But since I'm doing the audio now, I'll just leave it in. You can stick with me during the boring parts of the lift too. Okay, we'll definitely work on the editing next time. I guess my YouTube view hours will increase by 30 seconds if anyone makes it through this. Okay, then after this, I went to a cable lateral raise, and I do these a couple different ways. This is kind of more of almost like an upright row, and if you see I'm not holding a handle, I actually have the ankle strap over my wrist. What I'm doing here is I'm standing really close to the weight stack so that the tension is really high at the top of the movement. And the way the tension works, the load goes like the sine of the angle that the cable makes with the floor. So the farther you stand away from the weight stack, the lower that angle is and the less tension there is at the top. The closer to the weight stack, the greater the angle is. And the sine of 90 is 1. That's maximum tension. So if you can get the cable straight up and down, obviously it would give you the most tension. And you can see I'm almost doing it a little like an upright row, but I think if you can see it, you could really see it kind of hitting the side delt right at the top. So I do these a couple different ways. Sometimes I grab the handle and I step a little farther away, and what that does is place more tension at the bottom of the movement, and I really try to let my arm cross in front of my body and get almost like a side and rear delt movement. Or I'll do it like this and stand closer to the stack, and then do it more like an upright row where most of the tension is at the peak contraction there. So it's all your preference, I guess. And this is a movement I got from the gym owner Aaron at Strength Beyond in Kalamazoo. It's like a rear delt movement. Only you grab a 45-pound plate, so it takes the it makes the stress a little different. What I'm trying to do is I'm actually, you can't see from this angle very well, but I'm not bringing the weight straight out to the side. I'm bringing it to the side and forward so that my hands are kind of underneath my chest at the bottom, but at the top my hand is at my ear level. If you look, you can see the weight's going almost, like a 30-degree angle out and forward. And if you try it, it really hits the rear delts. I don't do these that much in my current rotation because I'm doing shoulders the day before back, and this really hits kind of upper back and mid-trap pretty well too. And a good variation of that is grabbing really heavy dumbbells. You can do dumbbell swings with like 120-pound dumbbells, and it's a great upper back movement or mid-trap movement. And this is just run the rack laterals. This is something I do off and on. I go through spurts where I'll do this almost every shoulder workout. Side delts are just boring. Maybe some people like them, and I see a lot of people getting a great pump and doing them on Instagram and their shoulders. Max Charles is one I always see. He's got just massive side delts, and from the back with his freaky triceps, this looks like a real impressive movement, but it's just not a very fun one for me. So run the racks is a way to get a lot of work done for side delts in basically one long set, so you're not doing set after set of lateral raises. And so you start out, I think I started with 50s or 55s, then you drop down to 40s or 45s, then 30s, then 20s, then 10s, and then just your arms. And somewhere in the middle, I usually get a little ahead of it. I think that's the one. It's somewhere around 20s or 30s. They're just a little bit too heavy to get the 10 reps for me. And it's a real struggle, and the form gets pretty sloppy. But then when you drop down to the 10s or 20s, it gets easier again, which will be this one. And then what I try to do when I get down to just my arms is really hold a contraction, and I try to get a little bit of external rotation in the movement. So external rotation is where you rotate your hands from in to outward at the shoulder. You can't really see it, but I'm not just doing a straight lateral raise. I'm trying to lateral raise and then rotate just a little bit backwards. And it's a strong contraction on your shoulders, and it's kind of humbling when you can barely do lateral raises with just your arms, but it's about the best pump you can get. Now on to triceps. Didn't have anything really special planned for triceps today. Like I said, that ulnar nerve was kind of not feeling so great, so I didn't think I was going to do anything too heavy. So I started with rope pushdowns and kind of did how I always do mechanical drop set with rope extensions. Hands apart for a while, get close to failure, then I start putting them together for better leverage, and then maybe bang out a couple at the end of partial reps. I don't think I do on this one though, but if you ever have an elbow problem at all, I think rope pushdowns are the best first tricep movement you can get. There's almost always a way to vary your form to take pain off your elbow wherever your elbow's hurting. Whether putting your elbows out farther in front of you, leaning over it more, leaning back more, standing more upright, anything. There's always a little angle you can do to take the tension off wherever your elbow's hurting. And then I did dead stop skull crushers and really wasn't feeling these. I ended up only doing 2 sets of them. I guess looking at my form now, my arms are kind of extending not symmetrically. Don't know why. I don't think they usually do that. I don't know if that was the elbow pain I was having or what, but for whatever reason, this movement, I just wasn't feeling it today. So I don't think it was a very productive exercise for me. So I dropped it after the second set. And then I finished with dips. I've been doing dips more lately because my shoulders have been feeling good enough to do them for the first time in forever. But I spoke too soon when I started doing this because this did end up hurting my left shoulder, which is the shoulder that hurts for dips. And actually, if you look at my right shoulder, you can see kind of an indent, and I think that's a mild nerve damage that stems from a vertebrae in my neck, because that same line runs through my side delt